Hello everyone, welcome back to another weekly market review for F45 Trading. Thanks for joining and watching. So this week we are discussing October 26th to the 30th, already the last week of October. Time flies when you're having fun. Even better news is the US election is coming up on us next week. And hopefully we'll start to see the market actually shake loose and get a little more action. She's going to be a little bit volatile as well, so I am personally going to be just sort of watching and studying price here for the next little while. You can see, obviously, US dollar really hasn't been doing anything. We had a bit of a surge in here and then a little bit of a run down there, but for the most part, it's been pretty stagnant for the past couple of months. And not a whole lot going on, so obviously we focused on some other markets. We've been heavily doing some commodity discussions within our membership group. Just discussing some of the indices, S&P and the NASDAQ, things like that, just to kind of get into some markets that are moving a little more fluidly. So hopefully you guys are doing the same. This week we've got on tap pretty heavy-hitting news week. So just make sure you're aware of what's coming up. I'm not going to go through all of this. But we do have some major news impact, monetary policy statements for Canadian dollar on Wednesday, and then for the euro on Thursday. So just make sure if you are trading Canadian or any euro associated pairs that you've got that on your radar screen and you're aware of when it's happening so you don't get caught. And the rest of the week, it looks like it's shaping up to be pretty decent. Some medium impact and high impact news events for Thursday for the US dollar. And it's a medium for Tuesday, but other than that, it should be a pretty good week, and we'll see what happens with the markets. I'm not expecting a whole lot, as I say. I think we're obviously waiting, and I think the whole world's sort of waiting for the other shoe to drop, so to speak, in the U.S. to find out who's finally getting in. So I think once that happens, then, like I say, we're going to be back to business again here and getting into some trending markets. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. So US dollar, we were talking about this level here for quite a while, and we kind of had a little bit of flirting with it on this rundown here, and she kind of popped up for 3-4 days and then finally slammed down early last week, and then really didn't go anywhere Thursday, Friday after Wednesday's plunge down. So stop levels run here. I would expect, and we've come down and rebalanced some areas back down in here. Price is trading pretty heavy. I'm going to see what's going to happen this week. Obviously, I think it's pretty evident, though, if we start to break out above, well, really Friday's high. So we've got the opening candle here of this week on Sunday. At the time of this recording, it's close to New York midnight. And so we've got this opening candle here on Sunday. This is the high on Friday. If we breach this high and start trading and close on a daily candle above Friday's high, then I think the chances of them running back up in this area are fairly good. We've got a little bit of a gap up in price here. There's a whole bunch of stops. Obviously, everybody who's been shorting the US dollar after this run up into here, they've all got their stops residing above here. So obviously, there's probably a good chance they're going to run back higher and get up into here. And obviously, in a consolidation market, which we are still in a consolidation market, we're going to continue to trade in this range. So more than likely, we're probably not going to trade lower. Again, we got to, take this with a grain of salt, obviously. The markets are going to get very volatile here coming up to the election, so anything could happen. And I would expect, the anything to happen, maybe a black swan, I don't know. But in my opinion, I believe that the lower end stops have been run. So I think the next level that the algo is going to be targeting would probably be up here. So I'm going to take this guy. Whoops, I'm going to take this guy and move it up here. That would be my next target. But again, we're going to see. I'm waiting for the daily candle to close above Friday's high to confirm that. And if it does, then I think we can target this for the remainder of the week and possibly into next week. And then we'll see what happens after the election takes us. I probably won't be doing any predictions for next week pre-election. I'll probably leave that and maybe jump on and do maybe a Tuesday or late Tuesday evening or even Wednesday after the markets have kind of done its thing. But I'll let you know kind of how that goes and pans out for next week. But that's kind of what I'm looking for. Now, what could also happen is we just bang around in this area right in here. We've got a pretty tight range in here. It honestly wouldn't surprise me one bit if we just didn't go anywhere. Just kind of played around in this area. So watch out for that too. That could definitely happen. I think if we start to run the low here from last Wednesday, then obviously, let me get rid of this and this. No, I can't. There we go. If we start running the low here on Wednesday, which I don't think is a likely scenario, we could try to run back for this low here. But again, I don't necessarily think that's in the cards right now. Again, if I could be wrong, price will close on the daily below this candle here. So really, that's what I'm looking for. If price closes lower here on a daily, then we can probably target this low down here. And I should probably drag a marker there. And I think if we trade above Friday's high, then chances are we're going to see the targets up here. Okay, so real quickly as well too, and one of the reasons I think that we're going to see a higher dollar coming is if you look at this US dollar, it ran those lows here. Okay, and this is from the early part of September. EurUsd had the exact same opportunity from the early part of September, and we really didn't run any of these highs in here significantly. We certainly passed just above this high right here, and we kind of gave it up and traded back in, and then Friday we kind of had a bit of a mixed day, but traded softer now, and it looks like Sunday's candle we're opening up weaker as well too. So we didn't take any of the stops above, so it kind of leads me to believe that there could possibly be some weakness on this part, on Euro's part, and potentially could see another run lower. I don't know yet. Again, we're going to have to see what happens this week, of course. But that was just kind of one of the things that I noticed that I thought I would point out to you guys, is that we really didn't run these highs here very significantly. And there could be a chance that they're going to come back down and maybe come and run underneath this low, which obviously that would correspond with a run back up above this high. So we'll see if we get that, but I think there's a good chance that the US dollar could run higher. And then, like I say, we'll know if the Friday's range gets breached. If that does happen, then what I'd be looking for is Euro to drop below this low rate here. So I'll just run that over here. So if Euro starts trading below this low, then there's a good chance that we're going to probably target this area under here for the week. Okay. So again, just I'm not doing anything this week, not really taking any trades at all. If I see something really good set up, then that could be the only caveat, but for the most part, I believe that I'm just going to sit on the sidelines because I think the markets are going to be a little bit choppy. There's a lot of unsymmetrical price action. They're really not correlated as they should be. A couple of pairs for sure. This being one of them, GbpUsd, it's just a real mess in here. And I don't necessarily need to trade this or want to trade that. I think there's much better opportunities out there. So on the daily, we can see that price is just very slowly grinding and chopping higher. Then we had a big surge last week, ran up and kind of filled this little area in up here, and then dropping now again. So again, we'll see what this guy wants to do here, but this could just be a failed weak try to get higher, and we could see price run underneath this low. I don't know if we see some major upward movement on the dollar, then we could easily see GbpUsd run for this low here. So I'll mark that on the I was going to say calendar. I'll mark that on the charts there, so keep that on there. So if we see price dropping below this low here, there is a chance we could run for there. So that could be something that you could look at, but I don't really like this price action in here, so I'm definitely not going to be looking at that too hard. But just to kind of tell you that we had a nice run in here, we rebalanced. We have a little bit of a gap in here as well too. That could be what they want to target on the upside if price does want to roll higher. I'll just mark that right there, so we've got it. So just watch that area there. If we start breaking above this high here, I'd be targeting that area. But for now, we're still kind of chopping around here, so there's really not a lot to talk about there. EURGBP, and the reason is because EURGBP, we kind of broke out of this little downward channel that it's been forming here, and so this is why these two pairs have just been kind of all over the map. EURGBP just can't figure it out, so really nothing to talk about there either. It's tough to get a gauge. We have a lot of lows under here, which I think is the ultimate target. As you can see, we've made a big high here, ran down, rebalanced, and just kind of went into a range, created these lows in here where everybody is putting their stop under, had price surge up, and now they're just slowly working this thing down. So it wouldn't honestly surprise me at all if we saw price underneath here on EURGBP in the next little while. If I think for sure before the end of the year we'll have price below here. Aussie is one of those other pairs that isn't necessarily quite correlated with what the US dollar is doing. It's kind of in its realm of its own. And it actually hit last week. I put both of these targets on here that I wanted to see. And surprise, surprise, markets are chopping sideways and they hit both levels. So that's what you get trading consolidation. So mission accomplished there. And I don't know what's going to happen with this pair. Again, I don't. We're just kind of trading right in this range right in here. We've got some lows over here that I've been looking at for a little while that I'll be marking on the chart that could possibly be the target. If the US dollar does run higher, I'll be targeting those lows, and I won't be doing anything until I think if price breaks below this low here. So I'm going to mark that. We'll put that on the level there. So if we see price close on a daily below this low here, I think there's a good chance we could see it drop down in here. So you can watch for that. You can put that on the chart. But again, guys, it's just it's 50-50 right now. Anything could happen. UsCad has an interest rate decision this week, and you know, they really have done nothing with this pair at all. We had a nice little run in here on one day, and then just fell right back into this range that it's in. And you can see, you know, what we're trading in here. If you look, like it's just holding in this consolidation pattern right here. It loves this and work in this range quite a bit. Briefly popped down below it, briefly popped above it, but now we're just right back in, and we've been in it for 3 months pretty much. So really, UsCad, there hasn't been a decent trade on UsCad for a while, or a decent opportunity in my opinion. If the US dollar does go higher, it should, in theory, pull UsCad with it. Pardon me. So I am looking for higher prices, but this pair has kind of been doing its own thing as well too, kind of like Aussie, just kind of sitting there. So you can see the difference in the daily charts between this and the US dollar. I mean, it's just, you know, it's making larger ranges, but really, really tight patterns in here that are very difficult to trade. So nothing for UsCad other than I like these highs up here. I think there is potential that we're going to see price trade above here, so we'll make sure we have that marked. And what my thoughts were on it is if we trade above 132.80, that's going to be the target up there. So if UsCad does trade above and closes on a daily above this level here, I think that's going to be the target. So I'm going to wait to see if that happens. Other than that, that's it for Forex. Real quickly on the crude oil front, careful on crude oil. We're still chopping sideways. It's going nowhere. Not a lot to talk about here. What honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we come back up and hit this 42.30 level. That's why I've got it on here. We almost did it early last week, and price just failed to get there. But I think I don't know. This market here has been brutal. I haven't traded and placed an actual trade on crude oil for quite a while because you can obviously see, you know, what we're in right here. This is not a trading environment that you want to take part in. It'll eat you up. And especially if you don't know what you're doing, and so stay out of this one. But I am looking for a return, could be briefly, up to this area here, and then I think, like I said before, and like I've said now for the past, I don't know, since April, I think we're going to see price back into the 20s again before we go higher. So we'll see how that works out before the end of the year. By the way, crude oil seasonally, very, very bearish this time of year, so do not go bullish on crude oil, whatever you do. If it does go higher, it's a fluke, and I mean, if you did get along, you know, good for you. Don't think of it as skill, because I mean, at the end of the day, look what this thing has been doing. Very, very, very sideways trading, and I think it's going to get weaker. And there's a lot of reasons that I'm not going to go into, obviously, with global demand and everything else. But let's just put it this way: I believe we're going to see lower prices on crude oil. And price is really doing nothing in here. So if I see a break below these lows here, it might signal a trade to possibly get down into here, and maybe even down into this range here, into the sub 20s. But I don't know if they want to take it that low. So, you know, we will see what happens, because these are pretty balanced ranges in here. There's one area just underneath these lows here that kind of draws my attention. So hopefully they'll keep it above 25. But, you know, as we saw early in this year, crude went to negative. So anything is possible. So watch out for this one. Gold has, again, same thing. It's just been a bit of a mess. Not much to talk about in gold. Until the US dollar breaks either higher or lower, we're going to see gold in a holding pattern. I think, personally, we're going to see price under here before the end of the year. And then what happens into next year, I don't know. But obviously, the more they print and devalue currency, the more that's going to push gold higher. So I am waiting for higher gold. I think that's going to be the ultimate outcome going forward, but we're not quite there yet. Obviously, gold is also waiting for this election as well, too. So you can see that. So I think we're going to know more by next week. That's really all I got to say, folks. I'm sorry. It's kind of been the same story for about the past 3 weeks. We're just waiting for that, as I say, other shoe to drop in the U.S. And then once that's done, then we can get back to regular trading, because I think the markets are going to see some more fluidity to them. They're going to be a little bit more predictable. And I think there's going to be some pretty good trade setups going into the end of the year here. So thanks for watching, folks. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave it on a comment in the video here. I check those regularly. Give me a like. Smash that like button. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe. Share this out to some of your friends and family as well, too. That would be much appreciated. I do all of this for free, so please, I mean, that's the least you guys could do. Give me a little bit of love on here. And I hope you guys have a great week. Thanks for watching. We'll catch up to you later.